The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Pam here. I will be the facilitator for today's session, and we just have a few more people who have said they would join. So we're just going to wait for another minute or so, and then we'll get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hello again, everyone. I can see that we've got lots of people just logging in now, so we'll wait for their program to catch up, and we'll start in just 1 minute. Thank you again. Hello, everyone. My name is Pam Ryan, and I would like to welcome you to the Portside Blundell Road Improvements Project information session. I will be your facilitator for today's webinar, and I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to attend this session and learn more about the project. Speaking on behalf of the project team, it is a pleasure to be here to provide you with the information about the project, answer your questions, and hear your comments. Originally, we were going to hold this information session in person, but that hasn't been possible due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the physical distancing measures that are, of course, in place right now. I would like to thank you for your understanding and your patience as we navigate these extraordinary circumstances. I will make project team introductions in just a moment, but first I'd like to give you some information about the format that we're using for today and to go through the agenda. First, I'd like to point out that participants will remain in listen-only mode for the duration of the event. We chose this approach for your convenience because there are quite a few people who've signed up for this session and there's a lot of information to share. This format will ensure that we effectively deliver the information and answer as many questions as possible in the time frame that we have, and I'll share with you how to do that. You can use the question window, which is available in your webinar control panel that you would have popped up when you logged in, and you type in your questions in that. We will receive them, and folks from the Port Authority and the project team will respond to them verbally after we complete our brief overview presentation to describe the project. We'll do our best to answer all of your questions. You can submit your questions at any time, but of course we'll address them at the end of the presentation. Anything that we are unable to answer in today's session will be included with our answers in the session summary, which will be posted to the engagement webpage in the coming days after our session. You can also use this question window to communicate with us as meeting organizers if you're having any technical difficulties during the session, and we'll do our best to help you through that and ensure that you can participate fully. At the end of the webinar, we will also share an email address for any other questions or issues, so please do be rest assured that all of your questions will be addressed at least at some point. And finally, I know that this session is being recorded in its entirety, and it'll be available for replay for those who are not able to join us today on the engagement site. So we'll post it on the engagement site in the next day or two. So if you have others who were unable to participate today, they can watch the entire webinar when it's posted. So our project team is here today to share information with you about the project and to hear from you. And this is what we have by way of our presentation. We look forward to hearing your questions and to understanding your questions and concerns around the project, if any. We'll be going over introductions to the project team, the project overview and update, the current status of the project and the scope of work, traffic management during construction, and then we'll have our question and answer period, and then we'll have some final closing remarks before we sign off. So with us today from the project team, we have Payman Pagahi, who is from the Port Authority and is the project lead and will be providing the project overview and update. I'm just going to ask Payman to say hello and introduce himself. Payman?
Hello, everyone. My name is Payman Pagahi, and I'm the manager with the Port Infrastructure Delivery Department. Thank you for your time for today. Back to you, Pam.
Great, thanks. And next up, we have Jerry Fleming from RF Binney and Associates. Jerry is a senior project manager providing project management and technical advisory services. Jerry, do you want to say hello?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Great, thanks, Jerry. And also from Binney, we have Richard Ananda, who is sharing the project management responsibilities with Jerry. Richard, would you like to say hello?
Good day, everyone.
Thanks, Richard. So both Richard and Jerry will be able to respond to your questions in the question and answer session along with Payman. We also have a number of other people from the project team who are observing and who will be available to answer some of your questions. So we have from the Port Authority, Roxana Musavi from Infrastructure Delivery. Roxana, do you want to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Roxana Musavi, Senior Project Delivery Specialist with the Port Authority Infrastructure Team.
Great. We also have Barbara Yandel and Jennifer Nottingham from Infrastructure or Real Estate. And I'll just ask Jennifer to say hello.
Hello, Jennifer Nottingham here. Good afternoon, everyone.
And Barbara.
Hello, everyone. Barbara Yandel.
Great. Thanks so much. We also have Amanda McQuaig here from the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority. Amanda?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today.
Excellent. And also from Binney and the project team, we have Dan Turner and Jerome Ip, who are working closely with Jerry and Richard on the project. Thanks to everyone here. And then, of course, behind the scenes, we have myself, Amanda Pang, who is helping to moderate your questions, and Galen, who is our technician and can help with any troubleshooting. So thanks very much, everyone. I'll move on and ask Payman to give us an overview, start the presentation.
Thank you, Pam. Hello, everyone. My name is Payman Pagahi. I'm leading this project on behalf of the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority. I appreciate everyone taking the time to participate in this information session. I would like to start with some background on the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority and why we're leading this initiative. The Vancouver Fraser Port Authority is a federal agency that, on behalf of all Canadians, is responsible for the stewardship of the lands and waters that make up the Port of Vancouver. Our mandate is to enable Canada's trade objectives, ensuring goods are moved safely through the Port of Vancouver while protecting the environment and considering local communities. We are accountable to the Federal Minister of Transport. We work to enable Canada's trade objectives, ensuring that goods move safely while protecting the environment and considering local communities. Our vision is to be the world's most sustainable port, which means supporting prosperity through trade, a healthy environment, and vibrant communities. Next slide, please. The Port of Vancouver is the largest port in Canada with over 100,000 jobs across Lower Mainland and has the most diverse cargo handling capacity in North America. While recent investment in 17 projects delivered through the Port of Vancouver Gateway Infrastructure Program have provided significant benefits and great efforts in taking to utilize the road and rail network in the port supply chain as efficiently as possible. Additional investment is needed to coming decades to improve road and rail intersections and interactions and to remove existing and emerging bottlenecks. Accordingly, we are leading a number of projects to support and enhance the movement of trade-related cargo through the Lower Mainland, while improving mobility and safety, protecting the environment, and reducing the impacts of growing trade on the communities. Since 2014, we have been working with the Gateway Transportation Collaboration Forum to identify projects that will improve our trade and transportation networks to accommodate the trade growth expected over the next 10 years. Members of the forum includes the Port Authority, Transport Canada, the BC Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, TransLink, and Greater Vancouver Gateway Council, which includes key good movement organizations like railway, trucking lines, and shippers. In the slide, you can see the proposed projects, including our project, which is within the green circle. The Portside Blundell Road Improvement Project is one of the nearly 40 transportation projects proposed as part of the Greater Vancouver Gateway 2030 strategy that will provide national, provincial, regional, and local benefits by getting Canadian goods to markets, growing the economy, creating well-paying jobs, and supporting livable green communities. The Port Authority would like to take a moment to thank tenants and other stakeholders we have engaged with over the last few years on this project. We also recognize that some tenants will be impacted more than others, and we want to acknowledge that the inconvenience this may have caused. I would like to thank you for your cooperation, and we hope to continue to work positively with you and continue to address your concerns. As many of you are aware, the Fraser Richmond Industrial Lands has some of the highest and most concentrated activity in the Greater Vancouver area for moving goods from terminals to rail lines and trucks and off to other destinations. This is one of the projects that was identified as part of the GVG 2030 strategy to improve the trade and transportation network in this area. There are three components to the Portside Blundell Road Improvement Project. The Portside Road overpass at Blundell Road will eliminate the at-grade rail crossing, and this is indicated by the orange line. We are widening Blundell Road from 2 lanes to 4 lanes between the number 8 road intersection and just west of York Road. This is indicated by the blue line. There will be a multi-use pathway along Blundell Road and Portside Road multi-use path is indicated by the green line. And the last but not least, we are also building a new bridge and extension of Portside Road over the number 7 road canal to access new area of development into area 4. And this is indicated by the red line. Next slide, please. On this satellite view, you can see the project components and the project extents, which indicates where the project will be located. The dotted line represents the overall Fraser Richmond Industrial Lands. The Portside Road overpass will be located at the intersection of Blundell Road and number 8. We're just re-pointing out the components, and Blundell Road widening is shown as a thick red line down to the left. And at the Portside Road extension and bridge is located at the bottom. That's correct. I'll now review each component in more detail, and a reminder that you can submit your questions at any time. Next slide, please. The Portside Road overpass at the intersection of Portside, Blundell, and number 8 road is the largest component of this project. The entire intersection will be raised by approximately 9 to 10 meters so that it passes over the CN rail corridor. This will eliminate the at-grade CN rail crossing and reduce congestion in this area. We will be building embankments on all 4 approaches to the overpass, which will require a significant amount of construction. The project team has been investigating options for temporary detour and access roads and how we will manage traffic during construction. We will discuss some traffic management strategies later in this presentation. The overpass will also provide room for future expansion by CN to have up to 7 parallel tracks in the UN yard, including a double tracking of the UN industrial line. Next slide, please. I would like to also take a moment to talk about walking and cycling improvements. We have heard from some of the businesses in the area that one of the key challenges of cycling here is a concern about safety. This slide shows the existing multi-use pathway near and around the project, as well as planned connection to the future multi-use pathways to the east. The dark blue lines present the existing, the blue line present the proposed, and the light blue line present the future multi-use pathways. Bus stops are also shown. As part of this project, we are also building a multi-use pathway for the walking and cycling. First off, on Blundell Road, it will start just east of number 8 road and will extend across the elevated structure down and to the north side of the road and connect to the existing bridge to the Richmond Industrial Center. On the Portside Road, the multi-use pathway will be built along the south side of the road and will extend across the new bridge over the number 7 road canal. The new multi-use pathways will improve safety for pedestrians and cyclists as they will be separated from the road traffic with a curb. Next slide, please. Back to you, Pam.
So Payman mentioned that there will be a new multi-use pathways built as part of the project. And so at this time, we have the opportunity for you to participate in a poll. We're interested in hearing how many of you cycle or would cycle in the future. So I'm just going to activate our poll here. This is the audience participation portion of the day, or one of them anyway. So our first question up here, I'm just going to launch it. So you should have the ability to see the poll. If we can just wait for a moment for people to vote. Okay, and just a couple more seconds for anyone who's still deciding. Okay, great. I'm going to close the poll now. Thank you so much. Our second part of this question is, would you consider cycling to work when the multi-use pathways are complete? So thinking about what Payman said in terms of the improvements, here's our second question. And I'll just launch the poll and ask everyone to vote, please. Okay, just a couple more seconds. Looks like some more people are still voting. Okay, I'm going to close it off. And I will just share the results with you so you can have a look at what we've got here. So we see that about 37% of you do cycle or have cycled at least once, and almost 2/3 have not. And then in terms of whether or not you would think about it after the multi-use paths are there, got a bit of a change here. So yeah, more than half would consider cycling in the future. So that's great news for us. Really appreciate your participation. We can talk more about that if you have questions during the question and answer session. And now I'll pass things back to Payman to continue our presentation.
Thanks, Pam. The next component of the project is the Blundell Road widening. On the top corner, you see the project components. The Blundell Road widening is shown with the blue line. We are widening Blundell Road from 2 lanes to 4 lanes between the number 8 road intersection and just west of York Road to provide capacity for future Fraser Richmond Industrial Lands growth. This will also tie into the eastern project limits of the new Blundell Road crossing of the number 7 road canal, serving the Richmond Industrial Center development. The third component, which is showed with red on the graphic, is at the western end of the Portside Road. We are constructing a new crossing into the Port Authority's Area 4 site to service future industrial tenants. The crossing will include a roadway bridge over the number 7 road canal and a short pathway into the undeveloped site. The bridge width is planned for 3-lane capacity. It will open with 2 lanes, 1 lane in each direction. The multi-use pathway along Portside Road will also extend along the south side of the bridge. The road design will include a new 3-way intersection on the existing Portside Road, which will be raised above the grade of the existing road to achieve a minimum of 3 meters clearance above the number 7 road trail. The number 7 road trail is currently used for emergency response vehicles in case the Portside Blundell intersection is blocked by traffic or an active rail crossing. Emergency vehicles can take Blundell Road to the road trail, and then there is an alternate access road to the Portside Road. You can see the access road at the bottom of the bridge rendering. Thanks, Pam. The project will help mitigate traffic congestions, alleviate rail crossing delays, improve container movements to and from warehouse facilities, support future developments, provide better access for public safety and emergency vehicles, and allow for new CN rail tracks to better serve the surrounding industrial areas. Next slide, please. The project received funding from the Government of Canada's National Trade Corridors Fund to design and build the project in October of 2019. We will be delivering the project into two packages. The Portside Road Extension and Bridge will be one package. The Portside Road Overpass and Blundell Road Widening will be the second package. This year, we will continue technical analysis and design for the Portside Extension and Bridge. We are currently in the first phase of engagement and anticipate further meetings with businesses and stakeholders in this area. Next year, construction will begin for the Portside Extension and Bridge. Design will continue for the overpass and widening components, and we will share draft designs and with the stakeholders in the second phase of the engagement for the Portside overpass. In 2022, we will share the final design in the third and final phase of the engagement. We expect construction for the overpass and widening to begin in the spring of 2022. The original completion date for the entire project was late 2023, but due to few issues, including COVID-19 situation, a scheduled extension of potentially 1 year is being evaluated by the Port Authority and will need to be approved by Transport Canada. We anticipate that the Portside Extension and Bridge will complete in the fall of 2023, and the Portside Road Overpass and Blundell Road Widening will be substantially complete by end of 2024. Throughout the project, we will continue to engage with tenants and stakeholders to provide you with updated timelines. Next slide, please. I just want to share the scope of work and let you know that over the past 8 months, we have completed the following activities, including a review of the traffic in the area to ensure the overpass is built to future capacity, a complete ground survey of the project site to facilitate future and further engineering works. We have been engaging with CN, City of Richmond, tenants, subtenants, and third-party utility companies to better understand and resolve issues and challenges. We have progressed from the initial concept design to a preliminary design in advance of a detailed geotechnical and environmental investigation works. And we have reviewed various procurement methods and delivery models of detailed design and construction stages to better meet the project objectives and ensure that quality and timely delivery of the project is met. Our current scope of work and what we are working on right now include continued engagement with CN, City of Richmond, utility companies, tenants, subtenants, other businesses in the area to learn about concerns, priority, and any opportunities for this project. We are also ongoing consultation with Indigenous groups whose traditional territory is in the area to consider cultural recognition and participation. We have been investigating detour options and construction staging to minimize impacts to those who travel in the area and or are directly impacted. We are also looking at various structural design considerations for bridge and overpass to accelerate construction and minimize impacts. Some of the upcoming activities include geotechnical field investigation and analysis. This has been delayed to fall due to COVID-19 situation and will need to be completed before the preliminary design starts, so we have a better understanding of the soil conditions. We will also be completing environmental reviews and field reconnaissance. Engineering teams will engage to advance the design and prepare documents as needed for engagement, agreements, and construction. And we'll be working on the agreements with Indigenous groups, CN, City of Richmond, third-party utility companies, and directly impacted tenants. I'm sure many of you have questions regarding traffic management during construction and temporary access routes. We have met with many of the businesses in the area over the last few months in one-on-one meetings to gain a better understanding of our needs and your operations. And we have noted that some businesses operate in the evenings and some operate 24/7. We are investigating how we can mitigate disruptions to your operations and plan to provide you with information about detour routes in the fall. At the end of this session, we will provide a link to the project survey to collect your ideas and feedback. We would appreciate if you could take the time to complete by July 22nd to let us know what we should be aware of during construction. We'll use your input to continue work on the detour plans and routes. At this time, we would like to display another poll and I will hand it over to Pam.
Great, thanks so much, Payman. We are interested in learning more about your communications preferences as we continue to plan for the project and look toward construction. So I'm just going to launch our third poll here. So the question is, which of the following options are you most likely to use to stay up to date on the construction activities and traffic pattern changes? And I'll just give everyone a moment to respond. You can choose more than one. And while you're responding, for those who are not aware, the eHub app is a free and it's available for both iPhones and Android. It provides real-time insight to the Port of Vancouver operations, including data collected from the Port Authority's installed GPS transponders on drayage trucks, and it has also interactive maps. Users can customize the notification settings to receive real-time updates on terminal status, rail crossing activity, and the like as it happens. So I'll just wait for a few minutes while people continue to vote. Looks like we have a few more still responding, so I'll just give it a couple more seconds. Okay, going. Oh, a few more people signing in here. Just when I'm about to stop, someone else just finishes. I'll just keep it going for another 10 seconds. Okay, super. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll close that poll. Because it's multiple response, we'll just keep that and we'll do the analysis. Thank you so much for participating. We'll take it under advisement and we will let you know where we're going to be able to provide the best information when we develop the construction communications plan. So now I'll pass things back to Payman to present the traffic management strategies that are being considered. Payman?
Thanks, Pam. A traffic management plan will be developed prior to the start of construction that will include details to protect construction workers and to efficiently move road users through the construction zone. We will share more details as they become available. Some of the traffic management strategies that will be in place during construction include maintaining two-way access to Blundell Road through the project site during construction. At times, we may move to a single-lane alternative traffic at night with ample amount of advance notice. Maintaining access to all existing tenant driveways are a key objective on Blundell Road and Portside Road at all times. We are currently planning to maintain the connection between Number 8 Road and Blundell Road. We are exploring ways to complete construction with minimal impact. Our traffic analysis indicate that with the upcoming signalization of the intersection at Nelson and Blundell Roads, there is a potential opportunity to either close a portion of Number 8 Road or restrict access to help with the construction timelines. We are discussing with other jurisdictions to ensure this will be feasible without major impacts to traffic, and will report out to all stakeholders on this important issue as soon as further information is available. As I mentioned earlier, the entire Blundell Number 8 Road intersection will be raised by approximately 9 to 10 meters, and we will build embankments on all 4 approaches to the overpass. This will require a traffic detour, utility relocations, preload placement, and construction. To maintain access to Portside Road and to build the overpass structure, we are proposing a new temporary at-grade rail crossing to the east of the Number 8 Road. We have indicated an approximate location on the map with the red dot. Safety is a priority, and we are working closely with CN, City of Richmond, and directly impacted tenants to determine the best approach for the temporary crossing during construction. Some general traffic management strategies will include ensuring provisions are in place for pedestrians and cyclists throughout the construction. Transit stops will be kept clear and accessible. We will support transit priority access during congested times. Flaggers will be present to help prevent any traffic from blocking intersections. Construction speed zones will be applied in active work areas, and we will also coordinate construction activities with other Port Authority projects in the area and construction of the Richmond Industrial Center. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, we are working with Coast Mountain Bus Company to ensure transit services will be provided during construction. There will be some impacts to transit service during construction of the overpass and the Blundell Road widening, but the bus stops on Blundell Road and Number 8 Road and York will be relocated temporarily, but will be maintained throughout construction. The 2 bus stops closest to the intersection of Blundell and Number 8 will be relocated into the overpass structure once the overpass is complete. We will ensure that changes to the bus stop locations will be communicated in advance. Back to you, Pam.
Great, thanks so much, Payman. So we have a couple of additional polls coming up. We are interested in learning more about whether or not the people who are working in the area are taking transit. So we have a couple of polls regarding transit. I'll just launch the first one. So the first one is, do you take transit at least once or more than once a week to or from work? Just give people a chance to respond. Okay, I'm going to close it off pretty quick. Anyone else want to put in their responses? Okay, I'll close that poll. And thinking back to the multi-use pathways and the transit access comments that Payman had made, our next question is, would you consider taking transit once the multi-use pathways are complete? And if you're already taking it, you would say yes again if you would, but just checking to see if the pathways would make a big difference for folks. Just give a few more minutes or seconds anyway. Okay, and I'll close it off in just a couple more seconds. Great, thanks so much, everyone. So just to give you an idea of the results here, not so many people taking transit more than once a week, or sorry, at least once a week, so about just under 20%, and 80% not. And then thinking ahead to when the project is complete, you get a big shift there. So just over 40%, so almost double your transit usage there. So thank you so much for participating in our polls. And now we have the opportunity for questions and answers. So I just want to remind folks that you can submit your questions at any time using that question and answer feature. We don't actually have a lot right now, so just want to say if you're waiting, now is the best time. We have a couple, and we'll certainly start with those ones first. So moving to our first question, when will construction begin, and when can we expect disruptions in the area? So Payman, I know you spoke to the schedule. I'm wondering if you could just respond to that question, perhaps in a bit more detail.
Sure. Just going back to the maybe to the schedule slide
Sure.
number 19.
One sec.
So the schedule is two folds for two different packages for the Portside extension and bridge, which connects the Portside Road to the area 4. We are expecting the detailed design to start next year and the construction to complete by in fall 2023. For the overpass structure, we expect to complete preliminary design and functional design next year, and construction will begin in 2022, and expecting to complete substantial completion by end of 2024.
Great, thanks so much. Our next question comes from Scott. I work just south of the CN rail tracks. How will this help us get to work? Sorry, it's just cut off a bit. How will this help us get to work as trains block access to work quite a bit? So just south of the CN rail tracks. Payman, is that also for you?
Sure. Yeah, the project, the overpass project, will actually eliminate the level crossings. So once the overpass is built, there will be unimpeded access over the overpass for the workers and users of the south side of the CN rail yard to access along Portside Road.
Great, thanks, Payman. Our next question comes from Christian, and it is, what's the delivery method for the project? So the procurement delivery. Payman?
Sure. The delivery model that is selected is a design-build delivery model. And for the Portside Road, it will be a design-build. And for the overpass, it will be a design-build with some early contractor involvement during the preliminary and functional design stage.
Great, thanks. Our next question is more of a comment, and I think it's a great one that I'm glad someone pointed out. But the comment was that the poll that we did regarding use of transit doesn't reflect the relatively high usage, because of course it's just the folks who are here in this session, and that's quite accurate. I think it's really great that we could see that there was a significant shift, that the project may make a difference in terms of more people using transit. But on that note, I would encourage everyone who is on the webinar to share the information with their employees and any of your suppliers. This project is for goods movement, but it's also for the people who move the goods. So our online survey is open, I believe, until the 22nd, and that will be on our final slide. So great comment. Thank you so much, Harjeet. And we'll make sure that we provide that information so that others can respond as well. So next question, and I guess it's a follow-up from Scott, because I think maybe we weren't quite clear on the specific location of where he works. So it was just that at Nelson Road, not number 8 Road. So the overpass doesn't necessarily help folks who are south, or the question is, will the project help folks who are on the south side, but at Nelson Road, not number 8 Road? Payman, maybe that's a bit of a clarification you can provide.
Yes, thanks, Fam, and thanks, Scott, for clarifying that question. It's a great question. Our project will eliminate the level crossing at Blundell Road and number 8 Portside Road, but it will not have any impacts on the Nelson intersection and the level crossing that is currently there. We understand that with help from VFPA, the Port Authority, City of Richmond is upgrading that intersection and installing a new crossing signal to coordinate the intersection signalization with the level crossing signal. And that project is at the final stages to be commissioned and started. But our project extent is far beyond west of that intersection.
Great, thanks, Payman. Our next question comes from Fred, and I think it's unfortunately a question for you again, Payman, and it may actually be not for the Port Authority to respond, but I'll ask anyway. Will Portside Road connect eventually to Williams in Richmond?
I'm sorry, I just lost that audio for a second. Will Portside Road connect to? To
Williams Street in Richmond. So it may not be yours to answer, but I'm just wondering if you're aware in terms of the broader context.
That's a good question again, and we understand that the Portside Road extension is only currently planned to connect the east side of area 4 on the east side of the number 7 canal to the area 4, and there's currently no plans for extending that road to the west further to the Williams Road.
Great, thanks, Payman. Our next question comes from Jerry. Is the Portside Road multi-use path designated for pedestrian and cyclist commuters, or will the path be advertised as a public usage pathway? And the comment is on Portside Road has lots of truck traffic through the day. And so there's some question around pedestrian and cyclist safety. Payman, I think that might be for you as well.
Thanks, Pam. The Portside Road extension south of the CN rail tracks is a land that is used for industrial use. The multi-use pathway will be designed for the safety of the pedestrian and cyclist, however. I can ask our engineering team to elaborate on that. So it will be considered for safety of the pedestrians and cyclists regardless of the use. So it will be designed to that standard.
Great, thanks, Payman. Lots of questions about sort of this project in context to the broader network. Our next question comes from Ryan. And the question is, are there future plans to widen number 8 road or Nelson Road to further improve inbound and outbound traffic to the Fraser Richmond property area? So Payman, I know those aren't necessarily Port Authority roads, but any additional information you have on the broader context?
I would like to ask our engineering team to comment. Jerry, maybe that can be addressed by you.
Sure, Payman. We're not currently aware of any plans to widen number 8 road. We understand is well, both those roads are actually in the jurisdiction of the city of Richmond. We're not aware of any plans from the city for widening of either one of those roads, other than the improvements to the intersection of Nelson and Blundell, the signalization, as Payman mentioned a minute ago, which we do anticipate to be provide some fairly significant improvements to that intersection operations.
Great, thanks, Jerry. Our next question comes from Myron, and it is, what is the Port Authority looking at in terms of impact on transit times of container trucks serving port terminals because they have defined reservation times? And I might suggest that Myron's probably talking about during construction, but potentially on an ongoing basis. So how will container travel times be addressed? And maybe that's really around traffic management. So Jerry, maybe a question for you.
It's a very good question I'll probably just have to say that we'll take it under advisement and provide a response later, because I don't think there's been any detailed discussion around that specific question. So I don't want to say anything until we've had a chance to really look at it. But we will respond as part of the response, I guess. The intent is to put out some kind of a summary document at the end anyway, right?
That's right. So 2 points there. One is we'll definitely get a more fulsome answer to the question here when we post the Q&A, but also it's a good plug for the survey. So we do encourage everyone to complete our online survey and provide us your comments and suggestions. So if anyone has ideas or concerns around container truck travel times, by all means, please share those with us. The next question comes from Harjeet, and again, it's part of the broader network, so might be one that we can't necessarily answer today, but I'll ask it. We understand that there's it's possible that Blundell will be connected to Westminster Highway using York, and if that's the case, do you have any timelines? Payman, I think that might be we'll have to get back to you, but maybe if you have an answer to that.
Yes, I believe we have to take that and have a look closer and provide a proper answer.
Super, okay. Next question also comes from Myron, and it's just a follow-up. So thank you, Myron. We're doing this in real time. It's working. So is there any estimate of delays while construction is going on? And what is the estimated improved travel time once the project is complete? Have we completed the traffic study? Is that a Jerry question?
Yes, probably is a Jerry question. We have done a traffic study, but I don't think we've quantified it in that way. I mean, I think we're designing the intersection for full build out of the entire area. So all the port, all the maximizing development by the port, but also from the city of Richmond. So we are taking that into account and in designing the intersection. So we expect that the improvement will be significant, but we haven't quantified it in that way as far as time savings. Not so far anyway.
Great. Okay, thanks, Jerry. Just a reminder, we have about 15 minutes left scheduled. We are at the end of the questions that have been posted so far. So maybe if I'll give people an opportunity to just add any final questions that they might have. And in the meantime, I'll just project this slide here for folks who might want to see where they can complete the online engagement form. So we have a website available. You can see the URL there, and the engagement platform, portvancouver.com, Portside Blundell Engagement. And we have an online feedback form that is available until July the 22nd. Okay, we have another question, and just go to this one. So what is the current status of emergency access to the area? And I know, Payman, you talked about how we're going to handle that during construction, but do we have any general information about emergency access today? Payman?
That's correct. Thanks, Pam. As part of the ongoing continuous improvement in the area, we identified the need to have an emergency access to the Portside Road during the traffic or the rail car movements along the Portside Blundell intersection. When that intersection is closed, movements along the road to provide access to Portside Road will be blocked. In order to address that during an emergency or for first responders or emergency access, we have constructed a temporary access route through the number 7 road trail. So at the end of the Blundell Road, that road is connected to the number 7 road trail, and that will be providing access to the west side of the Portside Road through that S trail that we showed on the rendering of the bridge. So first responders can easily access that area between Blundell Road and the Portside Road from the number 7 road canal.
Great, thanks, Payman. And our next question is, will the project improve the sight lines at intersections? So I'll ask Jerry to respond to that one.
I'm going to hand that one off to Richard, if you don't mind, Pam.
Oh, sorry, no problem. Richard, over to you. Richard had to have one question.
Yep.
Thanks, Pam. Yeah, look, as part of doing the design development of the project, we'll definitely be looking into that, and we carry out what's called some road safety audits of the actual design, in the preliminary design and the detailed design, and that will definitely be investigated as part of the project to improve sightlines at the intersection.
Okay, great. And next question is actually a follow-up around the emergency access from Harjeet. Will the emergency access road be accessible on an ongoing basis as an emergency exit for employees as well, or is it just for emergency responders?
Thanks, Pam. This emergency access is only for the first responders and has been coordinated with City of Richmond, RCMP, Fire Department, and that is the intent for that use. It's not meant for any other road users to use that access. There used to be a gate at that access road, which was coordinated between the City of Richmond first responders and fire team, and that's the intended of the use.
Great, thank you. And we have one more, just a general question about, is traffic projected to increase in the project area? That's Gary. So Galen, or sorry, not Galen, Payman.
Yes, as we said, part of the project and expectation of the growth in the trade and also container movement, as well as the future expansion of the Richmond site west of the number 7 road, as well as development of the area 4. We expect that the traffic will increase along the corridor. That's the reason that we are widening the Blundell Road to 4 lanes from existing 2 lane, as well as building a wide enhance intersection at the Blundell Portside Road to accommodate for that future traffic growth.
Okay, great. And we have another follow-up question around the emergency access. Question is, isn't it a legal requirement to provide 2 exits for people during emergencies? So I'm not sure if that's something that we have the answer for right away, or if that's one we need to take away. But Payman, I just ask if you do have the answer to that now, we can address it.
I think that's one of the questions that we have to take away, Pam.
Sure. Okay, great. Will do. Well, then at this time, I just will remind folks we do have another 9 minutes scheduled for today's session, so we're happy to take additional questions if there are any. But for those who may be wanting to just hear what final information we might have to share, I'll just share again, please, a plug to visit the engagement site to access project information. The links, as I mentioned earlier, are on the slide, and we will also email them out at the end of the session. In that, there's also a link to sign up to the project newsletter on the Port Authority's webpage. And if you have any questions about the project that either you didn't ask today or are not, or if you have follow-up questions, by all means, you can please get in touch with us either by phone or by email. And again, those are both displayed on the screen here. And final reminder for your colleagues who may not have been able to attend, we will upload the webinar onto the engagement site in the next couple of days, along with the written responses to the questions that were posed during the session. And one final plug for the questionnaire. It's short. It will help us understand your concerns and opportunities for the next phase of the project. It's open for input until Wednesday, July 22nd, and we do hope you'll take the time to complete it. And of course, we look forward to hearing from you and analyzing the results that we receive. So we have 8 minutes left for our session. I see a couple of people are starting to drop off, but by all means, if there are further questions, we'd be happy to take them. Okay, well, I do see a couple more people are dropping off, so I just want to say thank you again for taking the time to join us today. I hope that the webinar was a positive experience, and in addition to your comments on the project, we do welcome your feedback on the webinar itself. And for those who are signing off, please enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks again, and I'll just keep this open in case there are some follow-up questions. And I do see here that most of our participants are signing off. I think we're definitely finished. We finished about 7 minutes early. So thank you again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we look forward to your feedback. Please remember to complete the survey by July 22nd, and do share that with your employees and colleagues. We're looking to hear from as many people as we can in this important project area. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.